Welcome to all the folks who decided to join us here on this wonderful day. I'm Lewis.
And I'm Kevin.
And welcome to
Good Critic, Bad Critic.
One of the biggest trends in Hollywood is adaptations. From books, comics, TV shows, real life, and even toys, filmmakers will always find a source for inspiration. And one of those types of adaptations are video games. Oh, what's wrong, buddy?
When I hear the words video game adaptation, it makes me want to jump out of a window. Some of the worst movies of all time are video game adaptations, because taking a concept that was meant to be done in a video game and squeezing it into a movie will always, and I mean always, result in a below average insulting piece of work that resembles very little of what the original source material is.
Well, not every video game movie has been received negatively. For example, today's film, Mortal Kombat.
Really? Do you really want to do this?
But Mortal Kombat was, and some people think still is, one of the best video game adaptations of all time.
To be fair, it was released in 1995. Prior, we had the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Double Dragon. There was really nowhere to go but up.
You're not wrong, but even nowadays, the film has developed a cult following that still likes what the film did. Clearly, this film does something different from other video game movies.
But Mortal Kombat? Back then, a lot of people didn't know about the game's story. It was simply known for being the most violent game at the time. And even nowadays, that's the case. That's the reason why it's so popular.
They are popular for its violence, but they also had lore and well-defined characters that could be well translated into a feature film.
Well, good point. But how do you adapt this into this?
Well, let's find out. Are you ready to watch Mortal Kombat?
No. Just no.
Oh, okay.
Alright then. What do we have here?
Well, that's one way to catch the audience's attention. After a really awesome opening title sequence, the film begins with our main character Liu Kang having a vision of his brother being killed by the sorcerer Shang Tsung. We are then immediately introduced to our other main character Sonya hunting for a murderer named Kano in a club. After that, we are introduced to a martial arts actor named Johnny Cage who is dissatisfied with how his action scenes are done. He is visited by his teacher, who is actually Shang Tsung in disguise, who tells him to attend a tournament.
Whoa. It's not even 5 minutes and this movie's already throwing characters at a rapid pace.
Well, it is an effective way to introduce all our main characters into the plot.
Not really. Out of those 5 minutes, I got nothing from them and barely had any time to let them sink in.
You sure about that? Because in those 5 minutes we learned that Liu Kang wants revenge, Sonya wants to capture a murderer, and Johnny Cage wants to prove he's not a fake.
Okay, but that's very surface level. Even with that information, I can't tell if they're good characters or not.
Bro, it's only been 5 minutes. Let's see where this goes.
Alright then.
Liu Kang heads to a temple where he says that he will be attending the Mortal Kombat tournament. The Thunder God Raiden comes in, encouraging Liu Kang's decision.
Our three main characters come together on a boat that's taking them to the island where the tournament is being held. And everyone decides to be an asshole to each other despite just meeting. They meet Shen Zhang as well as Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And you may wonder, how are they gonna use the most iconic characters in the entire Mortal Kombat franchise? Fan service. That's about it.
Kevin, isn't that a bit of an exaggeration?
No, they have about 10 minutes of screen time, if not less. These two, in my opinion, have some of the most interesting lore in the games, and seeing them being reduced to set dressing really disappoints me. Afterwards, Raiden explains to our three main characters what Mortal Kombat is and why the fate of the Earth is in their hands. But my question is, why these three? Forgive me if I'm ignorant about some stuff in the games, because I'm too lazy to do any research about it, but Raiden doesn't really explain why he chose these three specific characters. And as far as I've seen, they don't have any unique abilities. They just seem like regular humans to me.
To be fair, Raiden only picked Liu Kang to represent Earth, Johnny was manipulated, and Sonya was going after Kano. Raiden didn't choose them, so he's using the best that he has.
So if Raiden only picked Liu Kang, what makes him so special? He just looks like Bruce Lee with puffy ass hair to me.
Well, it's clear that Raiden sees potential in Liu Kang. Perhaps the film will show it later.
They arrive at the island and we get to witness the amazing CGI that aged like fine wine. And we get a demonstration of Mortal Kombat itself.
Sonya takes the opportunity to hunt for Kano with the others following her. They listen in on Kano and the undefeated champion Goro, who is done with some pretty impressive animatronics for the time.
Are you kidding me? That looks impressive. It looks mediocre at best. It looks incredibly fake. From the facial expressions down to the bodily movement. It's clearly a robot, which is very distracting.
I must disagree. For adapting a character that has a very imposing design, he looks very accurate to the games, and his movements, along with the lighting, gives me enough to believe that he's an actual living creature.
You do realize the more it appears on screen, the more stiff and unconvincing it looks?
Kevin, be honest. Would you have rather see them do him in CGI?
These humans.
You know what? Yeah, they played it more here.
They discussed about the upcoming tournament, and I wanted to mention that I love how Kano is portrayed in this movie. In fact, the original creators loved him so much that they integrated his personality into future Mortal Kombat games. Shang Tsung arrives and warns them about Katana potentially joining the heroes to stop them. The heroes try to leave, but are confronted by some henchmen, leading into a well-done fight enhanced by the original Mortal Kombat theme.
You can't play it.
What do you mean?
This song is copyrighted. If we play it, we are f***ed.
But this is the first action scene of the movie. So what, am I supposed to skip it?
Yes.
Fine. Raiden stops the fight, and our heroes rest for tomorrow where the first fight of the tournament begins.
You know what? This scene will be so much better with the original Mortal Kombat theme.
Oh, come on! You literally just told me we couldn't use the theme.
I got it. If we can't use the theme, we'll make our own.
Oh, and how would you do this?
Mortal Kombat!
If it works, it works. Liu Kang beats his opponent and Shang Tsung finishes him off.
Fatality.
Okay. Bit of a nitpick here, but what does Shang Tsung have to finish him off? He could have easily told Liu Kang to finish him and refusing, but no, he just finishes him off himself. And he even has the audacity to say fatality.
I see your point, but you gotta admit at least a pretty funny line delivery.
Your soul is mine.
You know what, you're right. Later, we have Sonya versus Kano. In this fight, we get some fan service and Sonya's arc ending abruptly.
Aww. Rest in peace, you lovable Aussie.
Then we have Johnny versus Scorpion, which is literally only here for fan service with zero progress to the plot. Add to that some poor world building and even more lackluster special effects. Liu Kang faces Katana, who only fights him to give some clear as oil advice. Next is Liu Kang versus Sub-Zero, the most underwhelming and awkward fight in the entire movie, mostly due to the cinematography in this scene. And the cherry on top, the most stupid way this fight could have ended, by water turning into ice and freezing him to death. And the final fight in this series of fights, yes, I just said that, Goro versus some random guy we saw earlier in the movie that got no development whatsoever. As the fight progresses, we get to witness one of my biggest problems with this movie: the lack of blood and gore. When I saw that this movie was PG-13, I knew something was off, and it shows. The Mortal Kombat franchise is notorious for its graphic depictions of violence, blood, gore, and everything involving the dismemberment of living tissue, with no censorship. In fact, the original arcade version of Mortal Kombat was one of the main reasons the ASRB was created. So when you take that out of Mortal Kombat, it loses a big chunk of its identity. And that's what this movie is. It has the Mortal Kombat name, characters, and even the story, but it's so hesitant to even show a tiny bit of blood so they can sell this to general audiences. And it's funny I mentioned that, because according to some trivia, the original screenplay was supposed to be more faithful to the games, including the graphic violence. But no, they just had to keep it PG-13 because the fucking paycheck demanded it.
The thing is, while Mortal Kombat's original selling point was the violence, nowadays it has developed something bigger. They made a constantly evolving story, three-dimensional characters, and a vast lore. It has grown above the gore, and this film could totally take advantage of that.
Think about this for a minute. Ask anyone what Mortal Kombat is, and I'm sure they would say it's a violent fighting game. Sure, hardcore fans appreciate the characters and story, but even they would have to admit that the main appeal of Mortal Kombat is its over-the-top violence and gore. Even back then in the 90s when this was made, a lot of people simply knew Mortal Kombat as that one super violent game that your parents wouldn't even let you think about, not its story or its lore.
If that was the case, then why did so many people grow to appreciate what this film was doing if they only liked the violence? It is pretty clear that even back in the 90s, Fans grew to love these characters and this world. And this isn't even the most faithful adaptation of the games, but it's close enough that fans can recognize the characters and enjoy the arc they go through.
You.
Aw, love you too.
Finish him!
You know what? If you're gonna make it PG-13, you might as well remove the fatalities, cause that is not a fatality.
Flawless victory.
Okay, for those who don't know, a flawless victory in the Mortal Kombat games is when you defeat your opponent without being hit once. Now with that being said, how many times does Goro get hit in this fight? Yeah, that's not a flawless victory, my friend.
With the death of Arlene, I had to look up his name for that one, the team try to come up with a plan to defeat Goro, but Raiden drops by to tell them to overcome their personal challenges. Johnny offers himself to fight Goro alone to protect his friends.
Friends? What do you mean friends? You've been nothing more than assholes to each other.
Wait, how are we friends?
That's not the point. Also, overcoming challenges? So far I have not seen any of that.
Why don't we put a pin on that and see what they do with it later?
Alright then.
Shang Tsung agrees to the deal as long as he gets to pick the fighter for the final fight of the tournament. Goro and Johnny face off. I see what you did there. That was a clever use of the move. Johnny defeats Goro by kicking him off the cliff. Shang Tsung kidnaps Sonya, claiming she will be the final fighter, and heads to Outworld. Johnny and Liu Kang follow after them, but Raiden stays behind. They explore Outworld, but they encounter a reptile. They throw him into a statue, which turns it into his design from the games.
Wait, how does he transform into a human when the statue looks like a goblin or a gargoyle? They have a fight that is entertaining, but also very awkward.
I think most of the fights are pretty well choreographed and represent their fighting style accurately.
It's whatever, I guess.
They meet up a katana and head to Shang's castle where Sonya is being held. Shang insists that Sonya will fight him, but she declares that her friends will save her.
What do you mean, friends? Literally, the last conversation you had never gave off the implication that you care for them. Sorry, Lois, but I'm bringing this back whether you like it or not.
Oh joy.
We are almost at the end of the film and literally nothing has changed about these characters. They still have their flaws. The interactions they had never really convey the idea that they're friends or some sort of fondness for each other. If anything, they're more acquaintances than friends or partners.
I don't know how many acquaintances would literally go to a different realm in order to save them.
Well, you clearly never met any of my acquaintances.
And I hope I never get to meet them. Luckily, the trio reveal themselves among the hooded men.
Wait, am I missing a scene? How the f did they sneak into the castle, past the guards, somehow steal this outfit, and blend in with them?
They have a ninja empress that lived there all her life. I think I can believe that.
Well, I don't.
Katana states that Shang is disobeying the rules of Mortal Kombat, so he challenges someone else. But Liu Kang steps in and challenges him to a fight. This leads to a grand final battle where the epic Mortal Kombat theme comes in. And since we can't actually play the music, we will use a Kevin remix instead.
Mortal Kombat!
This ends up being the best battle in the movie, and Shang Tsung shows off his powers by reviving dead warriors to assist him.
And we finally get some blood in a Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh please, let's not start this again.
You know what? The movie's about to end. I'm not going to.
Thank God. Their fight continues to the upper level, and after some button mashing, he defeats Shang Tsung by punching him off into a spike pit.
Flawless victory.
Oh, f you. You got your ass handed in that fight multiple times, and you have the audacity to claim flawless victory. F whoever wrote that line. With Shang Tsung defeated, the Earth Warriors win Mortal Kombat. They go back to the temple where Raiden, understandably, is shocked that they won.
Shocked.
Wait, what do you mean? F you. F you. F you.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
So, the movie ends in a very obvious cliffhanger with the Emperor heading to Earth and our heroes ready to fight. This implies that a sequel is bound to happen. Oh, no, no!
That's a topic for another day. For now, this concludes Mortal Kombat. And I can totally see why people grew to love this movie. The story is well adapted from the game, and even took some nice liberties. The characters are a joy to follow, the villains are enjoyable but intimidating, the martial arts are very well done, and this keeps to the spirit of what made Mortal Kombat great. This serves as a good benchmark on how to make a good video game movie. I give it an 8 out of 10.
I was a bit frustrated watching this. The story is nothing to brag about, but the pacing is so fast, leaving barely any room to comprehend what's being shown. The characters are underdeveloped and inconsistent in how they play off each other. The fight scenes were made very awkward due to the camera work, and the people who are fans of the games may be disappointed by the constant fan service and incredible lack of graphic violence that the games are known for. This is an example of a poor video game adaptation. It could have been worse though. 5 out of 10.
That will conclude our review of Mortal Kombat. If you share any different opinions from ours, please leave them in the comments below. If you liked the video, maybe give us a thumbs up.
And hey, if you guys really didn't like it, there's always a thumbs down option.
If you want to be notified of future videos, please click the subscribe button and press the bell icon. Aside from that, I just hope you all have a wonderful
Or terrible
rest of your day.
So, Mortal Kombat was on sale today, so I bought it. Might as well give it a try.
Oh, can I play with you?
Wait, you like playing Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, you don't know what I like.
Alright. Best out of 3, bet!
You're on! One of the biggest trends in Hollywood is trans.
Ow, that hurt.
Day. For now, this concludes Mortal Kombat.
You die, you motherfucker!